Well, good evening. You're welcome to GHOne Television, and this is News Tonight. My name is Patrick Stevenson.
And I am Kemini Amana. Coming up over the next 60 minutes, here are our top stories.
Now, some 168 Ghanaian migrants are expected back into the country from Libya tonight as the world expresses disgust over reports of slave trade in Libya. Tonight, we gauge the world's response to the shocking news.
Also to come, one more ferry sent to Yeji to ease the pressure on the MV Akradi as a result of the piling up of commuters arising out of the closure of the Bupe-Yape bridges.
Now, the new Patriotic Party asks all metropolitan, municipal and district chief executives interested in contesting for the party's primary parliamentary elections to resign by the 6th of December 2017.
Now, the Ghana International Trade Fair Center to be pulled down and redeveloped into a major trade hub. That's coming up in business. Well, thanks for staying with us here on News Tonight. Let's get into our first story. Another corruption report has named the Ghana Police Service as the most corrupt institution in the country. This new revelation by the NCCE comes barely a day after the CDD's Afrobarometer made same pronouncement. The NCCE's National Baseline Survey report is to inform policymakers about the perceptions of Ghanaians on corruption, accountability, rule of law and environmental governance for informed policy interventions.
The research report on public perception on the state of corruption, public accountability and environmental governance by the NCCE seeks to support key institutions to increase the ability of citizens, civil society organizations and the media to hold government and duty bearers accountable. Speaking exclusively to GHOne News, Josephine Nkrumah, chairman of the NCCE, indicated that the report names a lot of corrupt public institutions, but the Ghana Police Service is blazing the trail.
The police has become the doorstep of everybody to go and try and solve problems. But when we begin to let them understand the other agencies that exist to actually resolve some of these problems or manage some of these problems, it puts less pressure on them, and then it puts less of the potential that they would demand something or your compulsion to pay something to such institutions.
Former Shraj boss Justice Francis Emily Short enumerated a few pointers to tackle corruption by the horns.
The executive must take the lead. The president must lead by example. The executive should be the institution that is leading the fight against corruption so that it becomes a national movement.
The Commission's engagement was aimed at increasing the awareness of corruptible acts and reorient the citizenry to eschew corruption. It also sought to increase public accountability and adopt sustainable environmental practices.
Now, the fate of an innocent 13-year-old girl, Dorothy Asari, has become a travesty of a sort as justice has been delayed. Now, our checks have revealed that the docket containing her files is allegedly missing. Petition as well to the Criminal Investigation Department headquarters from the Accra Regional Police cannot be traced. The police has turned a blind eye to the little girl and is yet to contact the family to offer them any explanation or compensation. But as the Asari family presses for justice, Dorothy has been enrolled back in school after being away for a year and a half.
When I started school, I was afraid, but when I came now, I understand everything, so I'm not afraid again.
About 2 years ago, young Dorothy's left side was paralyzed after she was hit by a stray bullet during a police shootout on June 7, 2015. All hope was lost for 13-year-old Dorothy Asari. According to her family, they have given up everything to see her live a happy and a normal childhood. For almost a year and a half, Dorothy was out of school due to her deformity. Going back was more of a wish. Fortunately, this dream has come true. Touched by her predicament, headmaster of Humble Way Mission, Samuel Kuwoye, where Dorothy was already a student, agreed to enroll her without any charge. Though Dorothy has some physical challenges and also has to repeat her class, she is happy to bounce back to her normal routine.
They always help me by learning, reading and playing. They always help me. I like learning with my friends. They like playing with me.
The joy and fear of being a student again has been one memorable experience for Dorothy. Her teacher, GHOne Amenuku, says he's thrilled to see her back in school.
I'm so much excited when I saw her back in school. Actually, before the incident happened, her performance in class and then involvement in class, contribution in class, or other superb. Things go on well, but right after the incident, we realized that her performance reduced, her involvement in class reduced. So we are still working on her to raise her to the education ladder.
Relieved by this kind of gesture from the school, Edward told the news team that the family is still wallowing in financial crisis. His wife has abandoned her profession as a trader to provide full support to Dorothy and the home. Frustrated by this quandary, Edward, a mechanic, says he's dependent on the revenue he makes to support his family.
Me use misika sign na ono so ne kakra won ho no. E se ono so yen fanya de ento aso. Nti ono so de ne sika ni nyina ba sa ni nyina ahye. E na obi ebe kire wo se minim odinsini bi wo ha obetimi ahwe no ama akọ na we ya sa ne stroke na di ne ho aden agim. Nti e se yen na bibiduro. Nti obi hu na we ya be ka kire nti e sa ye de akra no so tu kwan. Eko okwa ni nyina no e iska. Enipa ba kwa akotena no ho e wo ho no ni nyina iska. Nti up and down, ama ye nyina isika nyina basa.
But the road to seeking justice for Dorothy has not been an easy journey, and he shared his ordeal with the news team.
Ye kwakọtọ ayi hu asimbia ye kotena sa mudi me ne ochena mi hu de eko. Akora no so yale ano yale na mede ne tukwan misika nyina ye basa. Mintimi nya kwan enko traduma mo nya adwuma. Nti se mi hu se de eko de amon fama de ma me. Enam se akora no yare ntim e ma mintimi nya adaje ntena adwuma se me ye adwuma e de abafie. Up and down sa na ye de ne kwa ha ochena de ne kwa ha na ye de ne kwa sa mi nya adaje kora ntena adwuma. Me we sisi me fa no se be se bosumi ni kora mintimi ntena fia. Because we be fie bia na iskasem. Me so say skano mbusa me na me ni bi pe na mbuafu. Nti esa na ma da adwuma.
Nevertheless, he's determined to fight till the end. He's optimistic that their next court appearance on December 6, 2017 will bring some hope to the family. On June 7, 2015, Dorothy, on her way from school, was hit by a stray bullet during a chase between the police and a gang of suspected armed robbers. Dorothy was in coma for about a week, and the police donated a trifle, 600 Ghana cedis, to the family and promised to be back. It's been almost 2 years now. After Dorothy's story broke on GHOne News, she received some support from donors as well as free therapeutic treatment from a physiotherapy.
We'll keep you updated on that story as and when new developments emerge. Right now, however, as we continue to mark 16 days of activism against gender-based violence, we bring you the story of a 34-year-old woman who narrowly escaped child marriage at the age of 14. Lareba's family had betrothed her to a 65-year-old who already had 2 wives at the time.
In Ghana, abuse against women and girls has become one of the most widespread and devastating human rights violations, and child marriage is categorized under abuse against girls. But the phenomenon is still endemic, particularly in the 3 northern regions where families are said to give off their girl children into early marriage to escape poverty. But the girls' dreams, needs and aspirations are often ignored. A recent data from WildF shows that 1 in 5 young women in Ghana today are forced into child marriage before turning 15. Meet Lareba Ibrahim, a 34-year-old survivor of child marriage from Wale Wale in the northern region. Narrating her story to Imelda J of our news desk, Lareba said her father was giving her out into early marriage when she turned 14. This was to fulfill a promise her grandfather made to a friend. Laruba never met her grandfather, but her life, dreams, aspirations were to be cut short just to pay whatever promise had been made even before she was born. What's worse, she was being gifted to a 65-year-old man who already had 2 wives.
Minana, I promise will be say, Obema yere. Nti minana no wuye. Ena nipa na minana so promise no ono so wuye. But nipa na papa promise no ne ba wo ho. Aba mi papa ho say opese na ni papa say minana so obema no yere. Nti opese onye ohu sa oba no. Nti sata na mi sisters nyina aware. Ena osu ende obi akọ aka mi nko ano. Nti e wo say omode me emano.
The 14-year-old girl mustered courage, dropped out of school and fled in 1997 to Kumasi. Her family were hot on her heels and she narrowly swerved them in Kumasi and made her way to Accra.
Satamana mi wo 14 to 15. Nti e wo say me ware sa nipa no. Nti eno sa na na ma mpene. E na medwane ba Kumasi. Nti me ba Kumasi no eno mudi mechi se omude me ikọ ma papa no se na ye na nakato ho no ya femu a enye nti omumo obi ba Kumasi no ena medwane ba Accra ha nti medwane ba Accra ha no mekotana me blam ho.
Laruba says she would have been a widow if she hadn't escaped her husband-to-be, died a few years later.
Still edda so da ho se oba wo ye fie ho a na sa nipa na nyi kakra e force ombema omo aware sa fie na nka omosimi nko ware ho no ebeye ombe hia pa se ye fie ho obi nko ware fie ho because asama ye na na mo aka to ho ndede so obi ombe ka so nko ware o fie ho na nipa no so na be ka se mimpene na enya sa nipa no pene so a obekọ ko ware.
Life in Accra is difficult, but she is proud that she escaped being bundled into marriage when she was barely old enough to know what she wanted to do with her life, let alone be responsible for her husband. Now at 34, she's married with 2 children. Her head porter business might not make her a millionaire, but it fetches her enough to get by handsomely with her family. Laruba encouraged the young northern ladies not to fall prey to child marriage and the society to protect and watch out for young girls.
Well, very sad development.
Yeah,
we need to set our priorities right as a country, right? She's a head porter now, and that's because she relocated from the north to Kumasi, transit there to Accra, because somebody thought culture said she should go get married to somebody else.
I know where you're driving at.
I'm not getting anywhere. I'm just saying that culture cannot be the appetite in all social and political development of a country.
I agree.
It just cannot. We'll take a quick break here. We'll be right back with more news.
On the next state of affairs, we are boarding a trotro bound for Odoko to find out what people actually think about the state of affairs in this country.
This Abosonkai problem, they say they reduce the Tina. At the end of the day, we see that they are lying.
I'm not for homosexuality, and if someone wants to do it, you should just give that person that kind of liberty to go ahead.
Their thoughts on the budget, homosexuality, and any other matter that has become topical in this country. So today, we are taking state of affairs to the people.
Ghana needs your taxes. Do you pay your taxes? We drive on deplorable roads. Our children attend poorly resourced schools and we visit hospitals in bad state. Let's pay our taxes no matter how small our income. Every little tax helps. We always ask, what does the government do with our taxes? Government depends on these taxes to bring development to us and to build our nation. So I ask, do you pay your taxes? I'm asking you, do you pay your taxes? It's your civic duty. It's the law. Our taxes, our future. This advert is brought to you by the Ghana Revenue Authority, National Commission for Civic Education, with support from UK Aid and GHOne.
8 hours a day, 40 hours a week, close to 2,000 hours a year. That's what you invest in your business as you strive for the life you dream of. You're putting in the work. Make sure you get what you deserve. Get retrenchment insurance, get an overdraft, get a Visa credit card, get Barclays Prestige Banking. You've earned it.
Daily exposure to different environments leads to a buildup of germs, oil and dirt. These can cause blemishes and uneven skin tone. You need new Dettol Even Tone. It removes 99.9% of germs and is formulated to remove excess oil and dirt, helping to reduce the appearance of blemishes, giving your family the confidence of healthy, even-toned skin. For an even better you, new Dettol Even Tone. Dettol, be 100% sure.
Saswabo, sasso sasso, kume tonton preko. Sasso sasso, mi se kume tonton preko. Edana drame ne buseshe, ye hakesia ne malaria. Minya me pone me sasso spray. Every mosquito started run away. Oh, kumo tonton preko. Sasso sasso, mi se kume tonton preko. Oh, kumo tonton preko. Sasso, kum tonton preko. Nani sham ne die demonstronko.
Welcome back. You're watching News Tonight live on GHOne Television, also on Channel 361 DSTV. Now, one more ferry, the Queen, has been deployed to Yeji and Makango to transport dozens of travelers who have been stranded along the White Volta for the past 8 days. The deployment of the ferry follows an uproar from drivers, commuters and some minority MPs on the closure of the Buipe and Yape bridges without broad-based consultation.
On November 20th of 2017, the Ghana Highways Authority closed down the Buipe and Yape bridges in the northern region. The bridges, which had become a danger to travelers, were closed down to allow for repair works to be carried out. But being a major transit point between the south, several travelers got stranded as a result at Yeji. The only ferry at Yeji, MV Akrade, was unable to ferry many vehicles at a go. The consequent heavy traffic could have been eased if the ferry worked 24 hours daily. Unfortunately, the MV Akrade does not work at night, leaving hundreds of passengers stranded for days. The new ferry would take over the transportation of long vehicles, whilst the Akrade ferry would ease the human traffic and lightweight vehicles. The arrival of the Queen ferry saw a number of passengers falling over each other to join, but the passengers outnumbered the seats. Passengers lamented its small size despite being grateful for its arrival. Drivers were unhappy. The Queen could only ferry 3 trucks at a time. The minority members of parliament were outraged and the Minister of Roads was summoned before the House. The MPs accused him of not having consulted the various stakeholders before the closure of the bridges. The Transport Minister, who was summoned before Parliament, says repair works are expected to be finished within 4 weeks.
Now, the roads minister on the same development, Mr. Kwesi Amoako-Attah, has mounted a spirited defense for his decision to close down the Buipe and Yape bridges. Now, the two bridges connecting the southern part of the country to the north were closed down weeks ago for maintenance works. There have since been complaints from stranded drivers and commuters over the lack of alternative roads. Speaking to the media in Parliament, Roads Minister Mr. Kwesi Amoako-Attah said the closure was unavoidable, adding alternative roads exist. Now, according to the minister, rehabilitation of the two bridges will be completed within 4 weeks. He, however, disclosed two other bridges will soon be constructed to replace the existing ones as a more permanent solution.
It's a lesser evil, you know. No serious government will sit down, you know, to allow, you know, national disaster, national catastrophe, you know, to strike the country, because anybody who knows the condition of the two bridges, you know, will appreciate the decision taken by government, you know, okay? Because you go on the bridge, all the joints have separated from the concrete slabs, and the slightest weight on the bridge can bring it down, can crumple the bridge. We do not want to lose even a single life needlessly on that bridge. And steps have been taken, you know, to improve alternative.
Now let's turn attention to politics, where the NPP has set aside December 6 as the deadline for all metropolitan, municipal and district chief executives to resign from their current posts. This is to pave way for them to contest the party's parliamentary seats in the next general elections if they so wish. The decision was arrived at a top National Council meeting held in Accra, and Lancelot Boateng was there for GH1 TV.
The National Council has unanimously resolved that all persons serving as metropolitan, municipal and district chief executives who wish to contest as parliamentary candidates in constituencies where the party has sitting members of parliament are not eligible to contest unless they resign from their current positions at least 3 years before the ensuing national general elections. The council also resolved that the regional chairpersons, regional secretaries, regional treasurers, constituency chairpersons, constituency secretaries, and constituency treasurers are also not eligible to contest as parliamentary candidates in constituencies where the party has sitting members of parliament unless they resign at least 3 years before the national general elections.
We'll move on to other stories now. The Member of Parliament for Salaga, Alhaji Alhassan Mumuni, says the topography of the northern region might have something to do with why several communities up north lack drinkable water. Now, according to him, the water table is low and the only viable solution will be to rely on underground water, but lack of necessary funding has made this solution quite impossible to attain. Alhaji Mumuni was contributing to GH1 News' Water Forum, where stakeholders in the water and sanitation sectors dialogued to find a lasting solution to the lack of potable water in some 6 communities up north. The MP encouraged stakeholders to employ new technologies to dig for underground water or tap water to those communities from River Oti and Black and the White Volta.
In fact, we have a very low water table. And so we've tried severally to get boreholes to be able to solve that problem, which is non-existent. And so I think that there is the need for us to holistically, buy into the idea that we should be able to do more, technology to be able to see whether we can still get underground water, or else for now we rely on surface water, which is not helpful. And listening to the regional minister and the program of government, I think that is laudable, because we have rivers around our corridor. And so in areas where there is rich underground water, it worked. But in our areas where the water table was low, you have given them those options. And that is why even in the GHOne area, when the idea came that we should dig dams for the communities. In fact, I was fortunate to be the DCE then. I made an option that why not tap water from Tamale, which is very close to those communities. And they said if the assembly could add some more resources, they would listen. UNICEF had a program. And so we made some funds available, and water was pumped from Tamale to those 8 communities along the GHOne area. And it's helping. So if we can now tilt towards what government is suggesting, that we have the Oti River and we have this white volta and black volta around those areas. Let's invest more to be able to pump water to these communities.
Coming up is business.
Business Brief is brought to you by Dusk Capital. We see a millionaire in you. We're looking for you, the next millionaire. We know of your stressful routine. From those 12-hour flights across the Atlantic to your hustle through traffic every day. From burning the midnight oil to that laptop that never sleeps. We know where you are in life, and we know where you want to go. Let us take you there. Thinking investment? Think Dusk Capital. Dusk Capital. We see a millionaire in you.
Beverages Limited. Kakai 777 bitters.
Me pensa papa bi anoma no bi na shemu Ghana ne China no bi na nkwani ye di ashemu Chiche bi na obeye fine drink and make you no waste time Yampa Kakai bitters yeah come it's good for your party so Kakai bitters for your engagement so Kakai bitters good for your funeral so Kakai bitters it's good for your wedding so your wedding so it's good for your party so Kakai bitters for your engagement so Kakai bitters good for your funeral so it's good
Num nyansem and Tom Manipa when you do what and Sessa Appin for num a drinking sport BM Kakai 777 bitters and Kasa.
Charlie, Christmas they come. NASCO will shake the market again with huge discounts and free gifts. You will get the 24-inch NASCO digital satellite television for 599 Ghana cedis, or the 32-inch for just 799 Ghana cedis. Even the 50-inch set, you will get up for 1,999 Ghana cedis per. They come with free home theater and a wall mount.
Then the market will be well for this Christmas.
That's in the starts now. You talk say Christmas, and you can also get yourself a NASCO air conditioner for 1,199 Ghana cedis and get a free AC bracket.
People will enjoy it, Papa.
If it's a gas cooker where you like, pick up the 4-burner NASCO cooker, which is ranging from 499 Ghana cedis to 1,090 Ghana cedis, and you will get yourself free kettle. Or if it be the 5-burner stainless steel one you want, you get yourself a free oven toaster. The NASCO Christmas warm-up promotion is available in all NASCO showrooms and authorized dealers. NASCO, bring home happiness.
In business tonight, the Ghana Revenue Authority, as part of a national tax campaign, has locked up offices of some defaulting businesses. The move is aimed at ensuring compliance and revenue mobilization. Ghana's famous Accra Mall had to cough up 2.3 million cedis to avoid closure.
The first point of call for the task force was the Accra Mall. The team indicated the mall was indebted to the tune of 2.3 million cedis, covering a period of 2 years. Managers of the facility immediately entered a meeting with the leaders of the task force to discuss payment options. Briefly after, the GRA was issued with full payment of taxes owed. Chief Revenue Officer of the GRA spoke to the media after receiving payment.
We've now taken custody of the draft now, and we are glad that finally we have been able to retrieve this tax debt. And we thank you all for supporting us in this course.
The team then proceeded to law firm Piasa Buedu and Co. The firm has failed to honor its tax obligations to the tune of 1 million cedis. Similarly, construction consortium Fastel Construction Limited owed some 41,000 cedis. Both facilities were locked up by the GRA. The failure of business to pay taxes, the GRA says, negatively affects the size of available revenue for development. The authority hopes that these shutdowns will serve as deterrents to other evaders.
Well, that's part of the government's revenue mobilization drive. Now we'll move on to other stories where the China National Building Materials Equipment Import and Export Company Limited will inject $2 billion suppliers credit into government's One District, One Factory initiative. Now, president of the company, Yang Yonchin, said the facility was made available to Ghana because the country is a preferred destination to do business in Africa.
You cut it. Let's turn attention to some other stories here on the Business Brief on News Tonight. Management of the Ghana Trade Fair Center has disclosed its intentions to pull down the 200-acre facility, which has served as Ghana's premier and only international expo center. According to the board chairman of the Ghana Trade Fair Company Limited, Dr. Daniel Macaulay, the redevelopment of the facility will begin from April next year at an undisclosed cost. Meanwhile, the Trade Fair Company will organize the 22nd Ghana International Trade Fair from February 28 to March 7, 2018.
The Ghana Trade Fair Center, which hosted several international trade fairs, hitherto presented a unique opportunity for Ghana's domestic products and services to be showcased. However, for some time now, the facility has been fraught with several challenges, resulting in low patronage, crippling the facility in the process. In a bid to redevelop the center to help generate more revenue for the country and to help promote Ghana's domestic businesses, managers of the Ghana Trade Fair Company disclosed that it will pull down the existing structures to build a modern one. Speaking with GHOne News, the board chairman of the company, Dr. Daniel Macaulay, said the facility will be transformed into an international convention center to serve as the preferred trading destination.
We're in discussion with our international partners and the interested parties. So currently, all we can tell Ghanaians is that the trade fair is back. Whatever I do, the trade fair is really back. We'll see exciting days very soon, and I believe we are living in very good times to bring this edifice back. Definitely this place is going to be pulled down, and we'll see an international convention center, financial hubs, amusement parks, hotels. Here is going to be a wonderful place.
Meanwhile, the 22nd Ghana Trade Fair, which will be held from 28th February to 7th March 2018, was launched at the facility by the Deputy Trade and Industry Minister, Carlos Kingsley Ahinkra, who assured that his ministry will see to it that Ghana-made products are marketed properly.
We have decided as a government to bring up all companies which before now were suffering one problem or the other, or were helpless because of one reason or the other, by introducing what we call the National Industrial Revitalization Program, in short, the stimulus program, so that these companies will get some funding support and let them get back to work. So that our brothers on the streets who are not working can get work again. Those company owners who have lost hope in bringing back their companies to work would also start working again.
The CEO of the Ghana Trade Fair Company Limited, Agnes Edu, assured of a bigger and better trade fair.
During the fair, local and global companies will get the opportunity to interact and network with participating companies under this flagship program to form lasting partnership and to ensure the success of this 216 district industrialization initiative.
Coordinator of the One District, One Factory program, Gifty Ohene Kunedu, stated that her office is putting in place initiatives to help cut down on the number of imported goods and services while ensuring quality assurance through strict adherence to control measures.
Quality assurance services and control will be an integral part of the process. This will enable products to penetrate into the local and international markets, and when there is markets, continuity of production will be assured.
The 22nd Ghana International Trade Fair, to be held in conjunction with the EIB network and other partners, will be on the theme Industrializing Ghana, Creating Jobs.
Well, that'll be all for Business Brief. There's more ahead. Coming up is Insight. Stay with us.
Business Brief was brought to you by Dusk Capital. We see a millionaire in you.
Now, as the anger over reported slave trade ongoing in Libya rages on across the world, a government has moved to repatriate at least 168 Ghanaian migrants caught in detention centers in Libya. Now, 3 of the migrants have told a team of Ghanaian delegation assessing the situation that they were among those auctioned as slaves. Deputy Foreign Affairs and Regional Integration Minister Mohammed Habib Tijani tells GHOne News measures are being put in place to ensure the safety of Ghanaians living in Libya.
A man addressing an unseen crowd. Big strong boys for farm work, he says.
The CNN expose of the slave trade in Libya has been described by many as a crime against humanity. Some are baffled that in the 21st century, slavery still exists and illegal migrants are being sold for at least $400 in Libya. The widespread outrage on the reported slavery has become a global concern. In fact, United Nations General Secretary Antonio Guterres has condemned the act and called for investigations into the case.
I am horrified at news reports and video footage showing African migrants in Libya reportedly being sold as slaves. I abhor these appalling acts and call upon all competent authorities to investigate these activities without delay and to bring the perpetrators to justice.
The Libya slave trade is key on the agenda at the ongoing 5th African Union-European Union Summit in Abidjan, Côte d'Ivoire, where Ghana's Foreign Affairs and Regional Integration Minister Shirley Ayoko-Botchwey is attending. Her Deputy Minister Mohammed Habib Tijani says all efforts are being made to repatriate at least 168 Ghanaian migrants who were detained at the centers across Libya after they were caught by immigration.
We have our mission in Malta, and they have concurrent accreditation to Libya because when the war broke out, a lot of countries left the place for security reasons. And Ghana was one of the countries that left there. But we still have a scanty staff in our mission, the local staff who are working in a limited form. So our mission in Malta got in touch with this local staff, and these centers were visited. It is important for me to add that the situation in Libya for now is not conducive for people to be able to cover all parts of Libya because of the security situation, the kidnapping and the abuse of human rights.
The Deputy Foreign Affairs and Regional Integration Minister Mohammed Habib Tijani also tells GHOne News government plans to set up a consulate in Libya after cabinet's approval next year in order to ensure that Ghanaians there are not abused when they travel to work in Libya.
This largely depends on the improvement of the situation, the security situation on the ground. But for now, we are working with the local staff on the ground who are working directly under the Malta mission. Now, the Libyan authorities have expressed their willingness to give access to the African Union to investigate it because they denied it is not a state-sponsored activity.
Meanwhile, Libyan government has denied any involvement in the reported slave trade, but has assured of spearheading investigations to arrest those involved.
Well, we've been joined over the wires by a member of the Foreign Affairs Committee in Parliament, Samuel Okujeto Ablakwa. He's member of Parliament also for North Tongue. Good evening and thank you very much for joining us. First, let me pick your thoughts on government's reaction to this story, to this development.
Thank you very much for having me. Good evening to you and good evening to distinguished viewers. My initial reaction on the government response is that we ought to, for now, encourage government to continue with the search and rescue effort. Looking at the initial response, government is telling us that they have identified 168 Ghanaians who were caught up. At this point, government says they had immigration challenges, and so they did not have the right immigration documents, and that is why they are deporting them. So the current group of Ghanaians being brought back to Ghana with the help of the IOM are different from those who are believed to be amongst African migrants in detention.
Now, speaking of which,
who are being auctioned, and so it's important at this point that we do the auction. Those who are caught up with immigration challenges, fine. We need to commend government for going to rescue them and helping bring them back to Ghana. But if you look at the CNN exclusive investigative report, they mentioned Ghana specifically, that they encountered some Ghanaians in these detention camps. And that is where the response has not been adequate. We need a government and we need the African Union, most importantly, to convene an extraordinary heads of state meeting. And we need to see action. Time is running out. If you look at the footage, if you look at the way human beings are being treated, hanging upside down, no food, no water. We don't have time for a wait and see approach and all of that.
Now, what we know also is the fact that Foreign Affairs Minister Shirley Ayoko Botwe has made mention of the fact that 3 Ghanaians have been identified in the slave trade in Libya. Has this come to the attention of the committee in Parliament?
We have also heard about this latest development. You notice that the initial statement that was put out by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs sought to state that so far no Ghanaian has been identified in the detention camp. The latest development runs contrary to what the Foreign Affairs Ministry statement sought to portray yesterday. So we are making progress. This confirms the CNN report. If you follow the CNN documentary, you notice that they mention Mali, Niger, Nigeria, and Ghana as countries that are affected. And that is why I believe that the feet dragging is not the way to go. Our heads of state in Africa, that we need to see an African solution. So far, the French President Emmanuel Macron appears to be the one really pushing hard. He's asking for the UN Security Council to be convened so that there can be swift action. If you look at the CNN report and you consider the fact that you have 9 detention centers that they have identified across Libya in areas that are beyond government control, because you know Libya is now really largely a failed state. There are 2 governments, one in Tripoli, one in Benghazi. What you need is a military solution. A military solution to get in there quickly and rescue these African migrants before they lose their lives.
So you think what we need now is a military solution?
Absolutely, absolutely. Because you heard our foreign minister say that the situation is dangerous. You can't expect her and her officers to get in there and identify who can and all of that. At this point, let us all just admit that these are all human beings. It's not accepted. It doesn't matter which country they come from, whether Ghanaians are in there or not, whether Ghanaians are many or not, or Ghanaians are the majority. These are all fellow Africans, human beings who must not.
When you think about it, how helpful will a military solution be at this point in a country where really there is no established government? Will be difficult to even identify where these men are in the first place. How helpful will a military solution be to this?
It will be very helpful. CNN has offered us a starting point. CNN has identified 9 detention centers. We can start with that. You remember that all the footage emanating from Libya, you have the captors armed. The pictures in the video show that they are armed to the teeth. Most of them are terrorists who belong to all these terrorist groups that use Libya now as a safe haven. So these are not people that, and they are very disciplined. They are not people that you can identify their leadership and try to negotiate with them. And there are people who don't understand negotiations. And these are not people we shouldn't be negotiating with in the first place. These are plain-faced criminal terrorists who must be apprehended and brought to justice. These crimes against humanity must stop. And that is why the best solution is a swift military action that shows greater capacity of military force will force them out and will get these detention centers totally captured, so that we can then rescue all of these African migrants and bring them to safety. We cannot afford. I see,
but Honorable, I was just going to get into the fact that for such a volatile region, it is, as a country itself, there seems to be some sort of bad blood between what appears to be a government and those anti-government. So already there's some sort of military action there. If that could work, wouldn't we have seen some sort of progress with the kind of friction existing in that part of the country, in that part of the continent already? I mean, we could also be exposing our men to a more volatile situation if military action is our only resort. Well, I believe we have lost him over the phone, but the conversation continues, Patrick.
Well, yeah, the conversation definitely continues, and I understand we've been joined. We'll be joined sometime by another expert in the person of Mr. Kojo Wilmot, who is the national officer. Who's the national officer for the International Organization on Migration. I hear he's joined us. Mr. Kojo Wilmot, good evening and thank you for joining us.
Hi, good evening, and good evening to your cherished viewers.
So definitely, Libya is something that must have been on the agenda of the IOM in the last couple of days since this particular report broke out. What can you tell us from the perspective of the IOM regarding this development?
Thank you again. Thank you so much for this opportunity. In fact, with the IOM, Libya has been on a table for quite a long time, not just in this recent time. Since 2006, we have been working closely with the government of Ghana as well as other key stakeholders to help in the return of stranded Ghanaian migrants from Libya to Ghana. This situation has come to the limelight now because of this footage that was shared by this undercover journalist from CNN. And so it has drawn a lot of attention and then high public outcry on the situation. We know the situation has been there that a lot of sub-Saharan African nationals have been exposed to inhumane treatment. They have been exploited. They have been victims of trafficking and smuggled. We have known the situation that this exists for over a period of time. And so one of the interventions in place is to help in the return of these stranded migrants from Libya back voluntarily to Ghana.
So if I
give the opportunity.
If I understand you correctly, so you have been working at this since 2006 together with the government of Ghana. So I suppose that even the Kufuor regime, saw this problem and the fact that some Ghanaians had to be returned back into the country. They wanted to do that voluntarily, that is. How many people have you been able to return with the help of the Ghana government till date?
Till date, for instance, as we speak, we visited some detention centers, and we have close to 266 Ghanaians who have been identified to be supported to return. We also know for a fact that since April this year, we have assisted in the return of close to 241 Ghanaian nationals from Libya and then Niger. What we have done over the period is to ensure that these returnees return voluntarily, and then we provide some psychosocial counseling support to help in effective reintegration. And after this reintegration, we monitor to ensure that their reintegration is just not sustainable in the short run, but of course, they reintegrate back into the society over the longer and over a long-term period.
Well, thank you very much for sharing these insights with us. The voice you were hearing there was that of Kojo Wilmot, who is the national officer with the International Organization on Migration, giving us some reactions on the developments we're seeing in Libya and the strategies that have been deployed by the IOM in conjunction with the Ghana government to return some Ghanaians from Libya. Now, you have also been sharing your thoughts on social media regarding the developments we have in Libya, and social media has gone agog since the story broke out about the sale of African migrants in Libya. Investigations are to commence into the matter, but what do you think about the global response to this slave trade? Well, 58% believe that the reaction is a little too late, too slow. 38% believe it is an African problem, and 4% couldn't be bothered. But by and large, it looks as though the reaction that you have out there in the general public, and you can keep sharing these insights with us, but I think people generally feel that it's an African problem. Africans have to deal with it. I mean, I agree with that to a large extent, and some equally believe that the reaction we're getting now is too late. Yeah. Because since the overthrow of Muammar Gaddafi in 2011,
it's been like that.
You've had people trying to sojourn, to Europe through Libya, and every now and then these sort of developments occur. But let's hope that the congregation of heads of states that are currently looking at the problem will find some lasting solution to it.
I don't know what you think about the military action. I think it would create a more explosive situation in Libya.
It will. I mean, it depends on the way it's executed. I feel that there's a certain huge void in Libya, and so we'll have to tread cautiously. The argument is that, we deploy military, particularly when it's a sovereign state. Where is the military intervention coming from? The AU? Is it coming from, the UN? We have to understand all of these dynamics properly, but that's just our view. Keep sharing yours with us on our various social media handles, and this brings us to the end of Inside.
Welcome back. Elsewhere on the continent, Nigeria's President Muhammadu Buhari has said all Nigerians stranded in Libya will be brought home and rehabilitated. Reacting to the recent video footage released by CNN showing youth from sub-Saharan African countries being sold as farm workers for about $400 at a slave auction in Libya, President Buhari said it was appalling that some Nigerians were being sold like goats for a few dollars in Libya. He vowed to reduce the number of Nigerians making the dangerous journey through the Sahara Desert and over the Mediterranean to reach Europe by providing education, healthcare and food security back home. Muhammadu Buhari made the comments at a session with the Nigerian diaspora on the sidelines of the Africa Union-European Union Summit in Ivorian capital Abidjan.
Well, to other stories, now we go to Burkina Faso, where 83 megawatts of solar farm is set at the cost of $56.7 million has been launched in Burkina Faso. Now, the plant, designed to power tens of thousands of households in the country, is said to be the biggest in the West African sub-region. Now, French President Emmanuel Macron, who is on a visit to the region, joined his Burkinabe counterpart, President Kabore, for the inauguration. Only about 20% of Burkina Faso's 17 million population is said to have access to grid electricity.
Limited, Kakai 777 bitters.
Ghana ne China no bina kwani ya dia shemu chiche bina obeye fine drink and make you no waste time Kakai bitters yeah come it's good for your party so Kakai bitters for your engagement so Kakai bitters good for your funeral so Kakai bitters it's good for your wedding so your wedding so it's good for your party so Kakai bitters for your engagement so Kakai bitters good for your funeral so Kakai bitters
Num nyansem entom ma nipa wonyantie donwote ensese apemfo nom ewo drinking sport biam Kakai 777 bitters enkasa
Jame therefore ma yawo hoyi brensio na feyem so mo kwan se de therefore se no
wadaroma manento nana se ensu asem de mo ha na okwa ye ba no ye de ensu ba
adai se waba efie wasa yanyama mu nsuo nom no wo so di nsuo ba ene sai
nana eti amra
odefo yesre wo ensuo we eye ahemfo nsuo a ye de afa mfidie mu asone so aye ne kroji a Free Kingdom Beverages Limited King's Drinking Water.
Baima ensuo na de
Edampa
King's Drinking Water mpa
ene na King's Drinking Water
ahifusio de
Well, thank you for staying with us. Entertainment is coming up in E-Zone.
E-Zone is proudly brought to you by Airtel. Ghanaian dancehall songstress Ebony has come under public scrutiny for her way of dressing, and private legal practitioner Gary Nimako has described the recent controversial public appearances of dancehall act as indecent. The 20-year-old musician, who describes herself as the 90s bad girl, has been spotted at various events in revealing clothes and costumes for stage. In a recent incident, the sponsor singer is photographed wearing a swimsuit-like evening dress with a part covering exposing some parts of her vital parts. As many have come hard at her, Lawyer Nimako also says, inasmuch as she may be feeding her fans' desires, her dress sense is not proper. The 90s bad girl bold dress sense was proudly brought to you by Airtel.
But why you dey flex me? Why you think say I be 20? My phone always the ring, cause the girls I get plenty. Hey,
you dey flex oh.
Everybody they blow me fans, like I be some new big star. Social media guru, I dey keep up with the trends. Past internet, I dey connect with my friends. Charlie, I for flex you. Quality movie on my screen straight from YouTube.
Hey mama, who flex you?
I get money from my phone to make a sort you. We dey chill for Facebook like Ice Cube. With Airtel Flex, enjoy more of what you like. Watch movies, stream videos and songs, get free social media all day long and exciting money backs. Whatever your style is, we have a package for you. Dial *125# to choose your flex. Now, you dey flex.
Airtel, the smartphone network.
Bronya, Freddy's Corner, Yasa babyum, Bronya, obvious Freddy's Corner, Edientia, yeah, Chenyoma, I mean free instant gift. Nyawian, so be where Freddy's Corner shop, Bia Wagana baby. What shall do of Freddy's Corner Bronya where? Who be nyache dear bit to say, wine, mackerel, biscuits, and in your man would do baby.
Wow, Freddy's Corner, thank you.
Freddy's Corner, me that say. Nyawian, so be where Freddy's Corner shop, Bia Wagana have baby. Not your mobile phone, with laptop, or printer, and also PlayStation. Not just instant gift. Wow, to Mrikako Freddy's Corner. Not what you watch here. Freddy's Corner, your home of authentic mobile phone and accessory.
Head office, Kokomlimli, any city light, Nidianimshe. Fre 020-7937-323.
Hey, yo, but why you dey flex me? Why you think say I be 20? My phone always the ring, cause the girls I get plenty. Hey, yo, but why you dey flex me?
You dey flex oh.
Everybody they blow me fans, like I be some new big star. Social media guru, I dey keep up with the trends. Past internet, I dey connect with my friends. Charlie, I for flex you. Quality movie on my screen straight from YouTube.
Hey mama, who flex you?
I get money from my phone to make a sort you. We dey chill for Facebook like Ice Cube. With Airtel Flex, enjoy